If you're looking for a decent gaming mechanical keyboard that also has a numpad but doesn't take up a lot of space compared to a traditional full-size keyboard, you came to the right place. Yeah, granted, there's a lot of compact 96% layout keyboard out in the market right now, but arguably, most of them are targeted towards mechanical keyboard enthusiasts and only a few are geared towards gamers. Most mainstream gaming brands are still using the traditional 104 keys layout, which for an FPS gamer like myself, isn't really that ideal. Well, lucky for us, ROG has recently released the ROG Strix 2 96 Wireless, which is their first 96 key layout keyboard, and I must say, this is one of the best wireless gaming mechanical keyboards that I've tried with a numpad. The reason why I think this is one of the best is the fact that it's almost perfect for its intended purpose, which is for wireless gaming with a numpad for productivity on the side, without compromising much when it comes to its compact form factor. It's essentially the same size as a 10 keyless keyboard but with a proper numpad. But most importantly, it's outstanding when it comes to wireless performance and battery life, which allows it to not get in the way for some longer gaming sessions. The ROG Strix Scope 2 96 Wireless features a compact 96% layout with swappable switches, tri-mode connectivity with the reliable ROG Speed Nova wireless technology, ROG Omni receiver for multi-device connectivity, saving you valuable ports, and a multi-function control knob with a mode button on its side. It also has pretty much all the modern sound dampening materials that you'll ever need for a good sounding and feeling pre-built gaming mechanical keyboard. It's still not perfect though. There are still a couple of things that I want ROG to change here, which I'll share with you in this review. So let's get into it. Now, there's nothing new when it comes to the packaging, so let's get right inside. Upon opening the box, we have the ROG Strix Scope 2 96 wireless keyboard itself, protected by a soft cloth. Then we have the usual warranty guide, some ROG stickers, the quick start guide, wrist rest, and a couple of boxes here with more accessories. We have a braided USB Type-A to Type-C cable and a USB Type-A to Type-C adapter that you can use along with the cable to keep the Omni receiver closer and get better wireless stability. We also have a switch and keycap puller and an extra ROG spacebar. The included wrist rest is pretty decent, soft and nice to the touch, albeit susceptible to oil and fingerprints. It also has a good amount of rubber feet and a fairly good ergonomic shape. It is also magnetic and quickly snaps in place. Now, at first look and touch, the ROG Strix Scope 2 96 Wireless feels essentially the same as any other ROG keyboards that I've tried recently, with a fairly good build quality made out of a combination of aluminum and hard plastic materials. It doesn't flex much, which is always a good sign, and should withstand the stress if you accidentally sit on it, which you definitely shouldn't, but yeah, it weighs almost a kilogram. Now, let's take a look around. It features an exploded 96% layout with a good amount of partition between the key clusters, and even though we don't have a dedicated nav cluster, we still have some of those keys here up top. On the upper right corner, we have the multifunction and customizable knob and a mode button on its side. Contrary though to my initial impressions, it doesn't have a button on the right side of the knob. We also have a good use of space here with the LED indicators for the different modes and the Bluetooth indicators here on this gap. Looking in front, we have an ROG logo here, and like most ROG keyboards, this one also features a floating keys design, which means half of the switches are visible, which I personally and honestly despise. I don't like this design at all. I prefer a high-profile case for a cleaner look, but that's just me. On the left side, we have a bit of an angle here that you can adjust using the flip-out stands. At the back side, we have another ROG logo here, another ROG logo on the Omni receiver, which is stuck inside this compartment, and thankfully magnetic. We also have another ROG logo on the mode switch. Nah, I'm just kidding. We have the mode switch for its tri-mode connectivity, and beside it, we have the USB Type-C port for charging and wired mode. By the way, the mode button also has an RGB lining around it that you can customize via the software. And lastly, here at the bottom, we have 5 rubber feet, 4 flip-out stands with 2 shorter ones, and all of them has rubber tips as well. As you can tell, this part is raised, probably for the built-in battery. We also have the technical details here, and of course, the usual massive ROG Eye logo. Going back in front in terms of the fonts, nothing new here, still using the ROG fonts, and in terms of the keycaps, this keyboard is available in either PBT double shot or ROG UV coated ABS, which is what we have here. We also have the familiar sub-legends on the side. If I'm going to get this, I'll definitely choose the PBT option compared to these UV coated ABS keycaps. With that said, I can't deny the fact that these UV coated ABS keycaps, at least for the ones installed here, are pretty good when it comes to fingerprint and oil resistance. I've been using this for a few weeks now, and the keycaps are still in pristine condition aside from some dust buildup on the side. Thickness, or in this case thinness, is still something that I don't like about this, at just around 0.8 to 1.1 millimeters. In terms of the switches, I can honestly say that the ROG NX Snow is one of the best and smoothest stock switches that I've tried from a mainstream brand, and probably the best ROG has ever made, maybe except for the ROG RX Red switches, which I also like. It's actually not surprising at all, since the ROG NX Snow is made out of a combination of POM and polycarbonate plastic, and like I always say, POM material is my personal favorite when it comes to switches. Both the stem and bottom housing are made out of POM material, which is known to be quite smooth, and since ROG cares about RGB lighting so much, they had to use a clear polycarbonate plastic for the top housing. The stem is also pre-lubed with a familiar wall stem design to minimize wobble and for dust resistance. In terms of the stabilizers, since they really want to make everything themselves, they had to come up with their own stabilizer design, which I personally don't like. While it's decent enough for its out-of-the-box characteristics, it's still not significantly better compared to other standard options, and it's just a pain in the butt to swap keycaps with. You'll need to remove the stems from the keycaps each time you swap them out. Granted, you won't probably do this quite often, but still. Thankfully, this keyboard is still compatible with traditional plate mount stabilizers. Don't get me wrong guys, these ROG stabilizers sound really good out of the box, I just don't like its cumbersome design, that's all. This keyboard also features hot swappable switches, so just in case you don't fancy the ROG NX Snow, or if you simply want to try out other switches, you can easily do so here. Now, I'm not going to tear this keyboard apart since I just borrowed this from ROG, but essentially, inside this keyboard we have an aluminum plate, a dampening foam and switch pads between the PCB and plate, and a silicone foam for the bottom housing. Altogether, this makes the sound of the ROG Strix Scope 296 wireless really nice out of the box. It sounds deep without any sort of pinging or hollow sounds. Here's a proper sound test for you guys. Alright, so let's talk about the features. What I like most about this keyboard when it comes to its features, aside from its physical and sound characteristics, is its outstanding wireless performance. Thanks to the ROG Speed Nova technology, ROG claims near zero latency via the 2.4 GHz mode. I don't have a proper tool to measure the latency on this keyboard, but as per my real-world testing, I feel like I can genuinely rely on this keyboard even for competitive FPS gaming via the 2.4 GHz wireless connection. I cannot feel any perceivable input lag. And not only that, with the efficient ROG Speed Nova technology, the battery life on this keyboard is absolutely insane. As per ROG, it can last up to a whopping 1500 hours via 2.4 GHz when RGB is off. While I don't have that amount of time for the review, in my experience for about a month of using this keyboard, I think I only plug it in once. And I actually found myself using this as my daily driver because not only it has an insane battery life, but switching between my MacBook and PC using this keyboard is also pretty quick thanks to the tri-mode connectivity. Not to mention the nifty NUMPAD that I use to calculate my wrong decisions in life. Oh my god. Now, with the tri-mode connectivity, you can connect up to 4 devices, 3 via Bluetooth and 1 via the 2.4 GHz wireless dongle. Another cool feature of this keyboard is the ROG Omni Receiver, which basically allows you to connect 2 ROG peripherals into one USB dongle and save you a valuable USB port. As for the multifunction mode button, you can use it for volume adjustment, media playback, RGB brightness adjustment, and a manual mode that you can customize via the Armoury Crate software. Now before we move on, let me show you the different lighting effects and how it looks in a dim environment. Performance-wise, like I said earlier, wireless performance is reliable, especially via the 2.4 GHz mode. NKRO also works in all modes, including Bluetooth and 2.4 GHz, which is nice. This means you can reliably use this on any game and press as many keys as you want at the same time without conflict. Now let's take a look at the Armoury Crate software. No matter what I say about the bloatedness and skippable updates of the software, we can't deny the fact that it's pretty useful and intuitive. And while I'm here, of course, I had to do the update. Now inside the software, we have the basic key remapping options. We can also disable some key combinations here, choose lighting effects and adjust settings like brightness, speed, and all the basic stuff. But what's important here is that you can choose the functionality of the RGB around the mode button to either sync with the keyboard or use it as a battery indicator, which I find really handy. And of course, you can also customize the knob here, including the fourth mode wherein you can customize it to your liking. And lastly, you can also modify the power saving and battery notification here and check the firmware versions of both the keyboard and the dongle. Under the ROG Omni Receiver page, you can set up the devices that are compatible with this feature and use just a single USB dongle. These are the things that you won't typically find on budget keyboards. Overall, to conclude, what I like about the ROG Strix Scope 296 wireless is its reliable wireless performance, the nifty ROG Omni multi-device receiver, outstanding battery life, and decent sound quality and feel out of the box. What I don't like about this is purely based on my personal preference. I don't like the floating keys design and the design of the ROG stabilizers. Other than that, there's not much to complain about this keyboard. And again, if you're looking for a reliable gaming keyboard that just works out of the box, especially something compact while still having a proper numpad, there are just a few options out in the market, and this is arguably one of the best choice. And there you have it guys, thank you for watching. Huge thanks to ROG for letting me experience this keyboard. Honest disclaimer, this is not sponsored. In fact, I just borrowed this from ROG. And if you're interested, I'll put some links below. Thank you for watching, subscribe if you like this, and see you next time. Have a great day guys, you're always awesome.